Well, here it is, lads, possibly the biggest vehicle in the game. This German wheelie boy is a top tanker award for the ongoing Operation Winter event, and just like the C2A1 Mexus that came last year, this German event vehicle will be several players' first taste of top tier War Thunder experience. Alright lads, today we're once again spreading festive cheer by taking a look at the weapons and performance of the new Class 3P. Starting as always with the basics, this vehicle is a rank 6 battle rating 8.7 tank destroyer located in the German tech tree. Being a rank 6 event vehicle, it will come stock and have to be upgraded to unlock its full potential. It will also only be effective at grinding vehicles between the ranks of 5 and 7, allowing you to start grinding out the early Cold War vehicles as well as the top tier German main battle tanks. To unlock this tank, you'll have to grind out 10 tanker stars from the ongoing Operation Winter event. Alternatively, if you're watching this video in the future, the tank can also be purchased on the Gaijin marketplace. However, at the time of recording, I have no idea about the price, so I'm going to guess around 50 Gaijin coins. To purchase the Expert and Ace qualifications for the tank, it will cost you 690,000 Silver Lions and 2,100 Golden Eagles respectively. Being an event vehicle, Gaijin naturally doesn't want you to have too much fun and have set the repair cost as a whopping 12,333 Silver Lions, making the tank very risky to play for free-to-play players. Going on to the rewards, and the vehicle has a base RP modifier of 2.26, which gives you an RP modifier of 226 with a free-to-play account and 452% with a premium account. Your Silver Line modifier of 1.5 is one of the highest available in the game, allowing you to make a pretty good profit with this vehicle. You can expect a 150% Silver Line modifier with a free-to-play account and a 225% modifier with a premium account. In terms of customization, you do have several camouflages available to purchase, including woodland, desert and winter camouflage schemes. Alright lads, just letting you know, I now have a Twitter account. I'm using the handle SAKO Sniper, the same name as my channel. I'll mainly be posting behind the scenes, shit posts, as well as general updates about the channel. I also have a Discord server. It's kind of small at the minute, but we already have a decent community going, and I'd love for you lads to be a part of it. There'll be links down in the description below, and now back to the video. Okay, so starting with the engine and performance, the Class 3 is powered by an engine producing 786 horsepower. Combined with the vehicle's weight of 41 tons, it gives the tank a power to weight ratio of 19.2 horsepower per ton. This is pretty good to be honest, and you do accelerate fairly quickly. But compared to the Radkampfwagen 90, another rank 6 German wheelie boy, the 3P does feel a little bit sluggish. This is made far worse when moving across soft terrain, such as mud or sand. This basically means if you spawn on a map such as Sinai or Frozen Pass, you are significantly less mobile than you would be on a hard paved map. Moving on to the transmission, and you do have a decent top speed of 86 km per hour. While this is good in theory, like most other wheeled vehicles, actually reaching this top speed is hardly ever achieved in game. The Class 3P also has a very good reverse speed of 35 km per hour. This allows you to retreat pretty quickly, but due to your huge size and fairly sluggish acceleration, rapidly retreating isn't really achievable. It feels like this tank has a lot of momentum behind it. It doesn't want to rapidly change direction. Seeing as this is a tank destroyer though, judging it by light tank standards does seem a little bit harsh. Another important aspect of wheeled tanks in game is the torque of the vehicle. This is essentially the low speed power of a tank. Wheeled vehicles in War Thunder suffer greatly when trying to climb hills, as they don't have as much traction as their tracked companions. This issue, shared by all wheeled vehicles in game, combined with the Class 3's rather sloppy slow speed mobility, does rather limit the tank's ability to push and peak over ridgelines. Even though this tank does have all-wheel steering, the sheer size of the vehicle makes it rather hefty in tight urban areas. It is unable to make tight turns, seriously limiting its ability to knife fight on urban maps. It's like a 25 stone man trying to do ballet. It's just not happening lads. To conclude, the mobility of this tank is nothing special. It seems very mobile, but that's mainly because most players aren't used to seeing a vehicle so big, moving so fast. Moving on to the armour and survivability, the Class 3P has a crew of 4 men, with 1 in the hull driving the vehicle and 3 in the fighting compartment operating the turret. While normally this wouldn't particularly give you good survivability, the sheer internal space of this tank makes it very hard to kill in a single shot. There is just so much space inside to eat up post-pen damage, especially at your battle rating, where APF, SDS and other inert ammunition is being fired. These rounds simply pass straight through the vehicle, only damaging components they physically hit. Basically, if a round hits your driver, it is unlikely to also kill the crew in the turret. While an experienced player will simply shoot your breach, there are many new top tier players who just fire centre mass at most enemies. Shooting a 3P in centre mass is likely to cause very little damage. Moving on to the arm performance itself, and to test the armour, we're going to be using the M735 round fired by the American XM1. Starting as always with the lower frontal plate, and we have around 90mm of armour protection. This only gets better when we move up to the upper frontal plate. As you can see, it is incredibly well angled. producing well over 150mm of armour protection. And this said angling, you stand a good chance of bouncing most incoming rounds, especially if they've been rushed. Moving up to the turret, we have a pretty decent 200mm of protection around the turret cheeks, and surprisingly, the gun manlet itself of this vehicle provides over 350mm of armour, giving it a pretty truly turret, especially for a battle rating 8.7 vehicle. If we move to the side of the tank, and the thickest part of the armour is still only around 40mm thick. This is obviously nothing, and you will have to be very careful around enemy IFVs and SBAAs, as they will tear through your side armour. Moving up to the side of the turret, and the armour is practically just as bad as the whole side, providing just under 60mm of armour. Again, Shilkers and BMP2s will send you back to the hangar in seconds if you show them your sides. And finally, both the rear of the hull and turret provide just 20mm of armour. Overall, the armour of the Class 3P is very poor. It is easily penetrated by all the vehicles you will face in battle. However, just like the Macavers in the American tech tree, the Class 3P's internal design allows it to absorb a lot of damage. While this is good if you play with friends, it kind of sucks for solo players, as it just prolongs the suffering. Moving on to the weapons and ammunition, and the Class 3P is armed with the GT3 105mm gun. This is the NATO standard 105mm cannon, and long-time German players should be very used to it by now, as it is essentially the same gun as found on the Leopard series of tanks. The gun itself is fully stabilised in both the horizontal and vertical planes, and it also has very good vertical guidance characteristics, having 15 degrees of elevation and a workable 8 degrees of gun depression. The tank can carry 54 rounds of ammunition in total, with 15 of those shells being classed as first stage rounds, meaning your first 15 rounds will reload slightly faster than the rest. Speaking of which, if we take a look at the reloading skill under the loaders section, and we have a base reload speed of 8.7 seconds, and with an ace crew, that drops down to 6.7 seconds. This is the NATO standard reload rate of all 105mm guns, so nothing special here. Moving on to the targeting skill under the gunner section, and we can see that you have a base turret rotation speed of 17.5 degrees per second, which rises to 25 degrees per second with an ace crew. This is just slightly better than the Radkampfwagen 90, but that tank is famed for having poor turret rotation. Next we move on to the modifications, and I want to point out that this tank only gets access to a coincidence rangefinder, only allowing accurate distance predictions out to around 1.2 km away. You also do not get access to any sort of thermal optics, making it very hard to acquire targets, especially on maps with high particle densities, such as Sands of Sinai. You do however get a nice wide field of view in the gunner sight, as well as a base 8x zoom and an optional 12x zoom. I personally don't like this, as I find 8x magnification too much for close range targets. It does however make hitting long range opponents rather easy. Moving on to the ammunition, and we have 4 rounds available, 1 stock and 3 unlockable. The 3P stock or free shell is a DM12 heater fest round, travelling at 1173 meters per second and capable of penetrating 400mm of flat armour. This round certainly is an incredibly powerful stock shell. While this round is perfectly usable for the majority of enemies you will meet, some opponents with composite armour may give you trouble. You also get access to the DM502 Hess shell, travelling much slower at 732 meters per second and having much less penetration at only 127mm. While Hesh used to be useful, in the latest round of updates, Guardian have essentially turned Hesh into a meme, so I won't even bother grinding out this round. You also have access to the DM23 APF SDS round. This round weighs 3.8 kilograms, travels at 1455 meters per second, and is capable of penetrating 337mm of flat armour. But where it really excels is its penetration of angled armour. It can still penetrate 195mm of armour angled at 60 degrees. It also has pretty good spalling, creating lots of internal damage, leading to a majority of one-shot kills. The last ammunition you get access to is a DM33 APF SDS round. This is an incredibly powerful shell, used by the majority of German top-tier forces. It has the same weight and muzzle velocity as the DM23 round, but offers a whopping 408mm of penetration against flat armour, and a staggering 236mm of penetration against armour angled at 60 degrees. It also excels in long-range firefights, and also has a good spalling effect. And finally, the Class 3P also gets access to a coaxially mounted rifle caliber machine gun. Overall, this tank is a very powerful gun, especially for a battle rating 8.7 vehicle. It can easily cleave through all of its contemporaries, and even in a full up tier to 9.7, it still poses a huge threat to even the heaviest of Soviet main battle tanks. To conclude, I think that this vehicle is completely overshadowed by the Radkampfwagen 90. It just does everything better. The Rad is faster, smaller, more nimble, and has the same great gun and ammunition. I can't think of a single reason for players who already have the Radkampfwagen to play this tank. It isn't a premium, it doesn't have better reward modifiers, and it even has a high repair cost. So in reality, I can't see a single reason to take this vehicle in my 9.0 German lineup. While it does have higher survivability than the Radkampfwagen, the latter's smaller profile and higher speed should mean you won't hit as much in the first place. While the Class 3P is by no means a bad tank, it just doesn't strike me as a vehicle that will age well in War Thunder. The tank is a little bit strong at the minute, mainly due to its battle rating of 8.7. In a down tier, you absolutely club. Having DM33 round at battle rating 8.7 is a joke, and there is no way Gaijin can have a late 20th century AP FSDS round fighting early first generation main battle tanks. I think this tank will be increased in battle rating up to 9.0, and hopefully the Radkampfwagen 90 goes up to 9.3. As I've said, for people who already have the Radkampfwagen 90, I see this vehicle as a direct downgrade. But if you are not yet at the top tiers of Germany, then the Class 3P may be a very good vehicle to add to your lineup, especially if you have the premium Leopard L44. As always, this is just my opinion, lads. What do you guys think of this German behemoth? If you have any questions, criticism, positive or negative, or would even like to request a review, then please feel free to leave a comment below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If I did my job correctly, hope you should have learned something new about this vehicle. If you do enjoy these sorts of videos, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. But more importantly, lads, I hope you have a great day, and thank you very much for watching.